spending a day with the Roman legion, siege weapons, shield walls and brutal training. 2,000 years ago, Rome ruled half of the known world, so I want to know the amazing people keeping this history alive. But let's go and have fun and learn some history. An interesting fact is that Romans would actually use heavier equipment to train with than what they would use while they were deployed. The idea was that they would gain their stamina and their strength with the heavier training equipment, so it would be easier to use their main equipment when time came.
Let's have a look at the equipment of the legionary soldier. All these large helmets protect their head, large cheek pieces on the side of the face, large neck guard on the front of the helmet, and reinforcement, like I said, large neck guard at the back of the helmet, and a reinforcement on the front of the helmet. Their body armour, you can see two types of armour. You can see the segmented armour, which is very typical to Roman soldiers. This is made of plates of metal, which are riveted to leather straps internally. And this makes the armour quite flexible. Around the waist is a military belt. In the front of the belt is an apron, supposedly to protect the lower stomach and private parts. There we find this more psychological than practical. Practical running it can be a damnation. They got tough leather sandals on their feet. Well, sorry, either sandals or boots on their feet. But common to both types of footwear, you can see cobwebs in the bottom. Carry a large shield called a scutum. This is made of laminated wood with the grain going in different directions. We today use this type of construction and we call it plywood. And the front of the shield is the emblem of the Legion, and in the centre of the shield, large metal floss protects a single hand grip. As far as weapons are concerned, first of all we have a throwing javelin. This is a shot weapon. You can imagine volleys of these being thrown. When they're thrown their javelin, they were drawn a short sword,
Yeah.
There's also the same sword that was used by gladiators. Finally, on the left side, they carry a short pewter or dagger. It can be used for close quarter fighting. You can see from its shape it would be for opening tins of baked beans. It's a stabbing weapon. We have various officers attached to us. First of all, we have the standard bearer called a signifer. He carries this signum or standard to show the men of their own century they're the standard to follow. He's followed by the cornican or horn player, who's used to give commands in battle, on the march and in battle, so they can hear the horn. He's followed by the vexillarius. This chap carries a flag. And if you look at the flag, it says LEG for short for Legion and double X. Where's the child? What's double X? Double X. Double X is 20, isn't it, everybody? So it's the flag of the 20th Legion. We also have with us some auxiliary soldiers. The word auxiliary in Latin means helper. So where we have auxiliary fire service, auxiliary nurses, they help the regular people. So the auxiliaries help the legionaries. If you went to Hadrian's Wall in Roman times, you would find the wall was manned by auxiliaries, not by legionaries. Although it was the legionaries who actually built the wall. The auxiliary soldiers' equipment is more simple than the legionaries. They wear mail shirts made of rings of metal. They have bronze helmets. They've got double belts support their swords and daggers. A flat oval shield more suitable for skirmishing, and they, in this case, they got a stabbing spear. So the auxiliaries were organized into smaller units. I said the Legion was 5,300 men. Auxiliaries were organized into smaller cohorts of either 480 men or 800 men. And as I said, those are the men who would man Hadrian's Wall. This is what the Roman soldier looked like on the march. He's got 3 days' supply of food. He's got tools for entrenching. He's got various bits and pieces, water or wine bottle, bread there you can see, blankets. And you can see on the march our shields will be covered in leather covers. In fact, in one of Caesar's battles, he said the enemy came upon us so quickly, we didn't have time to take the covers off the shields. The Optio is the second in command to the centurion. He's called Optio because it was the centurion's option to choose him. So it's where we get the word option from, Optio. His badges of rank are, of course, his crest, a ring on his right hand, the original of which is in the British Museum, and it's got OPT, short for Optio. And this staff is an Optio staff as well. I'm in the equipment of a Roman centurion. The centurion is the only rank who wears greaves on his legs as a badge of rank. I got an arming doublet, on top of which is a short mail shirt, cloak on my shoulder. These medals on the chest are called falleri, and you get the whole set in one go. And there was one centurion with 15 different sets of these falleri, these medals. And I always carry a vine staff, which is also part of my badge of office, but used on the men for casual corporal punishment.
If you ever wanted to join a reenactment group but you just didn't know where to start, I'd highly recommend the Ermine Street Guard in the UK. Scan the QR code you see on your screen or visit the link in the description. Now let's go and talk to an amazing reenactor.
So you said that Vespasian was one of your top 5. What I'm curious, what's your other top 4?
There was obviously we'd have to go with number 1, Julius Caesar. Second place, I then would go. I'd actually defer to his adopted son, Augustus Caesar.
Augustus, I agree.
Because he put a lot of administration into the empire, sorted out the tax system and that. I'd probably put Vespasian at 3 and Hadrian at 4, just because they were soldiers.
I have to admit, I like Hadrian because I liked his policy of stop expanding, let's control what we have.
Indeed.
I completely agree with Hadrian as well. So what's your top?
Well, I was going from one.
Oh, were you going from one?
So
sorry, my bad.
So no, but yeah, it literally was because Caesar was a very good general.
Without a doubt.
Would have been interesting to see had his. It was a little bit like John F. Kennedy.
Well, yeah, I see.
Had John F. Kennedy been a president for longer, would he have been as remembered as he was because he was assassinated?
Yeah.
So could Julius Caesar have messed things up? Chances are. Augustus Caesar, because of the administrative policies, he was a very clever guy. The administrative policies he put in place, and then because I'm an ex-soldier,
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Well, thank you for your service.
Oh, easy enough.
Honestly.
No worries. Both Vespasian and Hadrian were, I mean, they walk march with the soldiers. Hadrian especially.
Of course.
He'd eat the soldiers' food.
Vespasian was a soldier himself. He was, that's right.
Yeah. And bringing up the rear and fight, I'd say Trajan.
Yeah, Trajan. I like Trajan, but I'm gonna say it. I would say Constantine would definitely be in my top 5.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a bit funny. I tend to be a sort of a late Republic, early Empire.
Well, do you know what? That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, in fact, we met up with some late Roman reenactors in York.
Yeah.
And it was surprising how different their armour, their way of fighting was compared to us. You know, and it was the evolution of the...
absolutely. The evolution of how the Legion started to perform. The days of Julius Caesar, all the training, the knowledge that they had, everything, they started to lose that all. And they didn't have the commanders to be able to perform the level of discipline that the later legions had. More later on, legions started looking more like auxiliary units over their more imperial style counterparts.
Exactly. Yeah, this sort of armor was very expensive as well.
Of course,
so there was a cost element involved in it. But I mean, you know, the Roman army was the first professional army.
Yeah.
Everybody else sort of fought for a season, went back and, you know, looked after the goats and pigs.
That's right. It was the very first ever ancient standing armour that ever existed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, because let's go back to the armour now, because I used to be a part of a Roman reenactment.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So I loved the Lorica Armata.
Yep.
So why did you choose the Segmentata?
Good question. To be honest, I go back to the Asterix and Obelix age.
Oh, I love them. Yeah, I used to love the comics.
They all wore Segmentata.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of the reason why. Initially, I was doing a walk for the Army Benevolent Fund.
Yeah.
And I was going to do Hadrian's Walk and have it as a
I would love to do that. Yeah.
And then I thought, well, if I'm going to get sponsorship, I have to do it as a legionary. So
that makes sense.
I bought all the kit, and I basically did the 85 miles exactly as a Roman would. The only caveat I made was I had modern boots on, just because I didn't want to get part of the way and have a sole fall off. And so I did have a modern pair of boots.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, but what the interesting thing is that the weight that the soldiers would carry is very similar to today.
Yeah.
If you look at, you know, the weight of their kit was about 35 kilos.
Without doubt.
Which is what our training weight was. We carried it more when we were working. And then the distance you're walking, so between 20 and 25 Roman miles, is about 22 miles for us.
I would say so, yeah.
22. So, you know, it was the Romans 2,000 years ago figured out that's the distance we can travel with this weight. And
so we're going to stick
we're
to
still
it.
doing it today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I can unload so much of my knowledge onto you just as much, but I don't want to be that guy.
Oh, no, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. No, I mean, I like the parallels that you can draw between the ancient army and the military today.
Absolutely.
First army with pensions. So, you know, part of your wages would go into a pot that you'd get on retirement.
Absolutely.
If you were they had the concept of a medical discharge.
Yep.
If you were discharged, you got that proportion of your pension.
Do you know, I was actually at a Napoleonic weekend, literally last week, and I was talking to an awesome reenactor. He was a part of the Coldstream Guards, he was telling me about how the British Redcoats basically resembled that of the Legion, just walks up to the enemy, and that's what he was explaining the Redcoats used to do as well. Modern day militaries mimic that of the Legion. I mean, for example, Napoleon, you could actually argue that he actually copied his core system from Alexander the Great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we had a Met police officer in the last job we did up in York. Yeah. And he was fascinated by the shields because he's one of the riot police. So he does training, and he was looking at what we were doing. We were doing a few little demonstrations with him, and they're using exactly the same tactics today as he would use.
That's remarkable, isn't it? When you think about it.
2,000 years ago, they figured out how to do it.
Exactly.
Even down to where they have the snatch squads, the guys with the smaller shields.
Yeah.
So there's your auxilia, and then you've got your main body of police as the heavy infantry.
Well, one thing that a lot of people don't know is that Rome was actually quite close to being industrialized.
Well, we haven't got the PC, the Armada.
Yeah.
So there's your production line, because you've got 50 people each making a square that big. They're all making that at the same time. That then goes to a master armourer, who'll then stitch it together to fit whoever's wearing it.
Exactly.
You know, so
it's insane to think about it that way, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
But anyway, honestly, thank you very much.
No, easy done.
Absolutely great talking with you.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of your day.